Hello, this is Leah Whitehorse from Astrology with the cosmic forecast for January 2015, and Happy New Year to everybody. So the year kicks off in style because on the 1st of January we've got an opposition between Mars in Aquarius and Jupiter in Leo. So this could manifest as a conflict of interests. Mars in Aquarius has got lots and lots of goals, but he could be on a bit of a crusade to try and make everything better for everyone else. But the problem is that with Mars being in Aquarius, he could kind of trample over the few in order to resolve issues with the many, and that isn't really going to help. So this can be quite a self-righteous aspect and a kind of I know it all, I know best. So it might be better to avoid topics like politics and religion, because that could turn a heated debate into an argument. The best way to use this energy is to really tap into the enthusiasm and the confidence that it brings. Whilst there could be a tendency to feel like you want to conquer every goal this year and start to make sweeping changes in order to make some headway with your New Year's resolutions, the best thing to do is really try and think ahead, taking small actions rather than kind of rash and rebellious actions, because it's important to realize you've got an end goal and to visualize that end goal. And the purpose of this is because some of your goals may be clashing. This feeling of wanting to do everything with Mars opposite Jupiter, you can't do everything. Something is going to get in the way of something else. Now also the other side of this is because it's an opposition, it could also bring about conflicts with what you want compared to what someone else wants. So again, it's about goals not meshing together. So if that issue comes up, the best way to approach that is to kind of see the other person's opposition to you as like a teacher, like Jupiter, because it may be telling you you need to understand more, or you need more information. There's something you need to learn from this situation. Bear in mind that Jupiter is retrograde at the moment, so its energy is going inwards. Venus moves into Aquarius on the 3rd of January, and then Mercury is going to follow suit as well on the 5th of January. So this kind of helps to cool some of these passions that have been raised with Mars opposite Jupiter, and it can help you detach and get a little bit of perspective. If there's been some conflicts going on, especially in relationships, it can help to allow your loved ones some freedom. Let them do what they want to do. A short reign at the moment could have someone kind of fighting for the bit. It's best to give them a little bit of a free reign. Let them off the hook a bit. Give them some space. Give them some distance. Let them do what they need to do. Because in this case, with this Aquarian influence, absence or distance makes the heart grow fonder. Bear in mind that also on the 5th of January, we've got Mercury entering into the shadow zone of the upcoming retrograde period, which I'll talk about a little bit later on in this video. So basically things are already starting to slow down. There's already some reflective elements coming in. Look to the house that contains Aquarius in your charts. Have a look at the house that's got Aquarius on the cusp, and that will show you which area of life is going to be affected by this retrograde period. And also on the 5th of January, we've got a full moon in Cancer. And this particular chart is going to see the Sun-Moon opposition square to the nodal axis. Now, just in case you know the difference, I use the true node rather than the mean node. So we've got the Sun and Moon in opposition, and they're square to the north and south nodes. Also, the moon itself, the full moon itself, is going to be opposite to Pluto and square to Uranus. So this is quite tense. This could feel like a turning point. Or there could be some issues around stress related to the past, and stress related to the future. Which way do I go? I don't know what to do. Do I let that go? Do I go with that? So there's a lot of that going on. On a mass level, it's really calling us to recognize that we need to change something in order to grow. That's the issue with the nodes. But the problem is with Pluto opposite to Cancer, a Cancer full moon, there could be a real tendency to hold on for grim death. Cancer is a sign that's really deeply emotional, and it's inclined towards being very sensitive, and it's very sentimental. There's a lot of nostalgia with this sign. Its nature is to protect what it loves, which is lovely, but with Pluto involved, it can be inclined to go from being protective to smothering. Uranus is saying, release it, whatever it is. Let it go with love. You'll feel better in the long run. There is a trine from this full moon over to Chiron, so it reminds you that within all this tension, there is the potential for healing. Mars moves into Pisces on the 12th of January. Now, sometimes this transit can start with a kind of feeling of a lack of energy, and this is because Mars's normally feisty energy is dissipated in the sign of Pisces. Mars naturally is very direct, confrontational even, but in Pisces energy is misdirected, and passive aggression can be a problem. This is all about getting beyond ego desires and recognizing that we all have a connection to each other. Mars in Pisces is about being selfless. Mars in Pisces emphasizes putting your dreams into action. Sometimes, though, actions and motivations can feel a bit confused as Mars passes through this sign. You're motivated by unconditional love and compassion. Outer material goals might feel kind of meaningless in the face of this. It's a perfect time to initiate a kind of spiritual quest. Maybe if you're feeling disillusioned about your own personal goals, it might be time to take another look at them to see whether they still have meaning for you. This can be a perfect time to help those that can't help themselves, to support a charitable cause that's close to your heart. Small acts of kindness really are supported by this energy of Mars in Pisces. Naturally, Mars kind of goes out there and takes what he wants, but in Pisces, it's all about the giving. Now, between the 15th of January and the 21st of January, there's some quite challenging aspects, and they've also got a very karmic feeling to them. Firstly, on the 15th of January, we've got Mars in Pisces moving into square Saturn in Sagittarius. And then on the same day, we've got Pluto perfecting the square to the north and south nodes. Something could maybe stop you in your tracks. Maybe you feel like something's wrong, but you don't know what it is. Or maybe you just feel like you don't know which direction to go in. You might feel intense frustration, or you might feel like just giving up. But Pluto won't let you give up. Pluto says you need to eliminate everything but the truth, and that way you can move forwards on your path. When Mars and Saturn are in a hard aspect to each other, it can have the effect of slowing everything down, and Saturn's really good at this anyway. Wherever he's transiting in your chart, that area of life tends to feel slowed down, or there's obstacles, or there's delays. And the purpose of this is because when everything is in slow motion, it gives you a chance to see everything in detail. You can't miss it because it's slowed down to such a point. And that's what Saturn wants. He wants you to see everything clearly. He wants you to see the reality. Now, the thing is, Saturn wants you to see the reality, but then Mars is going to move up to conjunct Neptune on the 20th of January. So again, we've got these issues of being raised of feeling defeated or feeling unmotivated or confused or misdirected. And escapism is all about Neptune. Escapism may seem far more appealing than the reality at the moment. So the thing is here is to stop and get your bearings. Wait for the Neptunian fog to lift so you can really see what's going on. And also let go of feeling defeated. If that is how you're feeling, your imagination is key here. If you're imagining yourself failing, then you can imagine yourself to success. Use your imagination constructively. Your strength comes through facing fears and through self-mastery. Uranus then forms a conjunction with the South Node on the 20th of January. Now, what I've noticed with Uranus and the South Node is that things often come out of the blue, and that is very much a Uranus action, this out of the blue surprise kind of feeling. We don't always see it coming, but attached to the South Node, it's kind of like a blast from the past, and whatever happens or whatever comes, it kind of changes your perspective of the past, which then changes your perspective of the present, and then changes your perspective of the future. And it isn't always a comfortable feeling. The South Node is our comfort zone. So when Uranus comes along, it's kind of like being rudely awakened, shaken awake, when you've been in a really deep sleep. Pluto squaring the nodes is kind of like being forced to see what you haven't been seen before. So we start to get a picture, we're being awakened and pushed into seeing something we've not seen before, and it's a little bit, it probably sounds a little bit scary. But the thing is, it isn't scary, it's about awakening. Awakening on a spiritual level. It's awakening to your soul's growth. Now, if you've got any planets around 12 degrees or points, around 12 degrees of the cardinal signs, that's Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, you're likely to feel this nodal action more, this particularly the Uranus South Node action. And if it makes you feel any better, it will be affecting me directly as well, with conjunction to my Venus and my midheaven. So this Mars conjunct Neptune and Uranus conjunct the South Node, these are contained within the chart for the new moon in Aquarius, which is also on the 20th of January. The sun will have just entered Aquarius on that day, so it's a really busy day in the cosmos. Bearing in mind that Uranus is the ruler of this lunation, because Uranus rules Aquarius, it raises all the issues that I've mentioned connected with Uranus conjunct the South Node. So something happens that changes your perspective. This new moon, though, is also sextile to Saturn, and Saturn is the old ruler of Aquarius, and still the co-ruler of Aquarius. So what this does is that it brings in some sense of stability. And as I was thinking about it, I was thinking Uranus is very much like a lightning bolt. It's electric. So if you get hit by this lightning bolt from Uranus, Saturn's going to be there to help ground this lightning energy. Another way of putting it is that Saturn is currently in Sagittarius. So it might be that Saturn helps you because he's translating this energy into something that you can understand. Remember, this is a new moon, so it's all about beginnings. And Aquarius is about freedom and liberation, amongst other things. So really there is a sense that if things are getting shaken in your life, then it's because something needs to be shaken up. Something needs to be changed. A change is as good as a rest, and it's a breath of fresh air. Mercury stations retrograde the day after the new moon, so that's the 21st of January, and that's also going to be in the sign of Aquarius, so lots of connection to Aquarius at the moment. When Mercury retrogrades through an air sign, it's all about how you relate, how you communicate, and how you think. So you might be reassessing the groups that you're connected to, maybe the group of friends that you usually have in your life, or the networks around you. With so much emphasis on Uranus and on Aquarius generally in the charts, or in the skies, I should say, it seems really important to question everything. This Mercury retrograde could provide you with the space you need to reassess, so that you can come to a new conclusion based on new information. It's really all about changing your mindset. Whilst Mercury is retrograde until February, the end of January does at least start to gently calm down after all this kind of quite intense action that's been going on through the middle of the month. We've got Venus moving into Pisces on the 27th of January, so that brings a much softer, gentler approach. And with Mars here as well, because Mars is still going to be in Pisces, these are quite romantic aspects. And it's inspirational energy, and it's loving energy, and it's fabulous if you are a writer or a painter or a musician or a dancer, because they're really conducive to any kind of creative pursuits as well. The month ends with a sextile between Mars and Pluto on the 30th of January, and that's followed then by a conjunction between Mars and Chiron on the 31st of January. So all in all, these aspects offer you the courage to face this process of transformation, this mind-altering process, and it gives you the willingness to embrace a path of healing. So this month, I chose the Mythic Tarot deck, and the card that came up was the Seven of Pentacles. Kind of an interesting card. Let me see if you can see him properly there. What we can see on the card then is we've got this man standing by this column, and on the column are all the coins that he's made or gathered from whatever it is he's been doing in his life. And then there's this lovely young woman who is presenting him with an offer, and he's, the expression on his face is he's thinking about it. Shall I accept this offer, or do I carry on with what I was doing? So this card very much indicates a time of evaluation. And I was thinking that with the Mercury retrograde, this kind of really fits, because that too is a time of evaluating or re-evaluating where you are and where you're going and so on. Often this card can come up when there's a pause in proceedings. I've seen it quite a lot when people are, say, between jobs. Say if someone's been made redundant, and they're looking for another job. When this card comes up, it usually tells me that they're not going to be unemployed for that long. It can also come up just to show a week off work as well, where you aren't necessarily going off on holiday, but you're just having a break at home. So we have got this sense of just pausing before you're making your next move. Another thing this card brings up is the idea of, is it worth it? This is what this guy is thinking. Is it worth me changing direction? Is it worth me accepting this offer? It's kind of like the Pluto square to the nodes. Do I carry on with what I've been doing and establishing my past, or do I go off in a different direction? It is very much like a turning point. Now, for some reason, when I was doing this, I kind of felt like I wanted to pull another card, which I don't usually do, and it was really the Shaman pack that was calling me, the Shaman Wisdom pack. And the card that came out was the maple, and this is a maple leaf. And when I was looking at it, I was thinking, well, what do we associate with maple? Maple syrup, which is very nice. But maple syrup is associated with sweetness, and that makes me think of Mars and Venus in Pisces. So there's something here about, in this process of evaluation, needing to really look for the sweetness. It's something about looking beyond first appearances or surface appearances. The sap of the maple is kind of inside the tree, so you look beyond the hard edges and see the sweetness beneath. And even with this sweetness of this maple leaf, I'm then thinking about the calf that's indicated on this card, of cow, the sacred cow, and that makes me think of the milk of human kindness. And maybe there's something here about, we just simply need to be kinder to each other. We need to be kinder to each other. We need to be kinder to ourselves. We need to be kinder to each other because we're all connected, like Pisces indicates. Pisces shows that connection between all things. We are all one. So this month, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and give yourself some time and some space to consider all your options. Look beyond the surface, look beyond surface appearances to get to the real substance beneath.